stronghold is? I'm sure you have an idea of what a stronghold is. You know? If John were to grab you and hold you, you would consider that a stronghold, right? Huh? But that's one form of a stronghold, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the strongholds that we are to pull down with the mighty weapons that God has given us. All right, so let me define for you what these strongholds are that we are to pull down. Because if you don't understand what these strongholds are, chances are you're not going to be pulling them down, right? And as a result, you're not going to be using these mighty weapons that we have at our disposal, right? All right. What is a stronghold? All right, in this context, the strongholds are their arguments and reasons by which one disputes and endeavors to fortify his position and defend it against his opponent. What a stronghold is, it's an argument. It's a reasoning. It's logic that we've all created in our minds to defend our positions, to defend what we believe in. That we're able to use against anyone who wants to come against our logic, our reasoning, our position. That's a stronghold. And keep in mind, these are strongholds oftentimes that Satan is able to create in our lives that keeps us from doing the will of God. I'll give you an example. Oftentimes, when I proclaim the gospel to people, they tell me that I want to get this out of my system first. You know, I want to know when I come to Christ, I want to know that it's out of my system. That's a stronghold that Satan has built up in your mind that keeps you away from God. It's like you telling yourself that I don't want to do this because I still got some unfinished sin to do. I got some unfinished business I need to take care of first. That's a stronghold, and that's just one example. You know the stronghold, you know the arguments in your own mind that you built up. It's like a fortress. That's another word. It's a fortress that you build up, that you stand behind, and that guards you. It guards your thoughts. It guards your heart. It guards everything about you. Not only does it guard you, it won't allow God's word to come in because you have this stronghold that's been built up. You have these arguments. You have this logic. You have this reasoning that you're behind. But the weapons that we have are mighty to pull down these strongholds. And that's our task. That's our objective, to break these strongholds down. We all have strongholds, right? Huh? I don't know what your strongholds are, but you do. You know the things the reasoning, the logic that you stand behind, that protects you, that keeps you from doing God's will. You understand that. That's what a stronghold is. Now, clearly, a stronghold represents thoughts and patterns of thoughts and trains of thoughts. And again, they're used as defense mechanisms. And they create a mental blockage. A blockage that prohibits God's word and his influence from coming into your life. They obstruct God's knowledge. They're fortified thoughts. And guess who is the builder of these strongholds? Guess who constructs these strongholds? Our enemy. Our enemy. He's trying to keep us in bondage. He's trying to keep us enslaved in our own minds. And I tell you something, he's doing a really good job at it. He's doing a masterful job at it. Now, check this out. In this scenario, it's found in Luke chapter 11, verses 21 through 22. This is the scenario that's out there today. It says that when a strong man, fully armed, and the strong man here is talking about Satan, when the strong man, fully armed, guards his own palace, his goods are in peace. So what is he doing? Satan, the strong man, he's fully armed. He's guarding his people. He does not want you to be free. He's standing on guard. Remember when we said he's roaming around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour? He's active. He doesn't sleep. He's very diligent in what he does. He is not a lazy enemy at all. He is standing on guard to keep his people safe and secure within the fortresses, within the strongholds of their minds. He's fully armed. But in verse 22, when the stronger man that he comes upon him, he overcomes him. And he takes from him all his armor in which he trusted. Who is the stronger man? Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. We are the stronger man because Christ is in us. And we come to pull down strongholds. We come to disarm him. It says it. It says he takes away from him all his armor in which he trusted in. Colossians chapter 2 verse 15 says, having disarmed principalities and powers. Satan is disarmed. He has no teeth, but in this case his bark is fearful. His bark is worse than his bite. Because he has no bite, he's been disarmed. But didn't say he can't bark, and he's not barking, he is. Oftentimes we succumb to it, but no more. Again, strongholds are also known as fortresses. Again, they're mindsets that hold you hostage. It makes you believe that you're locked in a situation that you are powerless to overcome and change. At this point, a person utters the words, I can't. I'm not good enough. No, there's no way I can do it. Because of the stronghold that's in your mind. I'm going to tell you something. There are so many believers and people who are walking this earth free as a bird. They can go anywhere they want, do anything they want on the outside. But on the inside, they are trapped in the maximum security prison of their brain. They're trapped right here. Every time an opportunity presents themselves, they're not free to take advantage of it because of the strongholds that they are trapped behind. You know what I'm talking about. You know of people who simply will not respond because of their thoughts that they've created for themselves, because of the way their thoughts have insulated them, and refuse to allow them to step out and walk out in faith and do the things that God has prepared for them to do. They'll give you every excuse in the world, and they have no idea it's a stronghold. They have no idea it's a fortress that Satan has constructed in their brains. And what do? They continue to live in that prison, although they walk free as a bird. They continue to be trapped in their minds. That's oftentimes when we say kids who grew up in the ghetto, it's like a vicious cycle. It's like they can never escape because of what they learned from their parents. I have a lot of siblings, brothers and sisters, cousins, that's in that vicious cycle. But the cycle is in their mind because I was raised in that same environment. But I refuse to be trapped by the thinking of my mind to stay in there. I allowed my thoughts to exceed far beyond that cycle of poverty. Far beyond. I walked out. I was never in that prison to begin with. And we have daughters, brothers, sisters that are in that same trap. And we wonder, why don't you get it? But they don't get it because they're trapped in the bondage of their mind. The strongholds, the fortresses in their mind has them captive. And they can't get out. Because why? They have a lack of knowledge and understanding. And what did it say? My people are captive because of lack of knowledge and understanding. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. He's not making this up. This is for real stuff here. People are in bondage and captive because of lack of knowledge, because of their thinking, because of their thought processes. Remember, the strong man is fully armed and he's guarding his people. He's guarding the minds of them. He's guarding what comes in. He's telling them there's a blockade that won't allow the truth of God's word to sink in. Because of their reasonings, because of their logic, because of their excuses. I can't do this, I can't do that, I did this, I did this. Come on, man. That shouldn't be so. Now, we have to no longer be conformed to the thinking of this world. We have to be transformed by what? The renewing of our mind. Understand something. I think I shared this before, but when we were saved, we received a new heart. We received a new spirit, but we didn't receive a new mind. Did we? The same old thoughts that we had before carried over into this new life. That's why we have to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Not the renewing of our heart, not the renewing of our spirit, but by the renewing of our mind. That's the process that we're going through right now. Our mind is like a computer. Think of it this way. A computer has hardware and it has software, right? Think of the brain as the hardware to the computer. All right? Now think of the mind, the thoughts, as the software. So the computer won't do anything until it's programmed by the software. Right? You can have a brand new computer and you may want it to do a PowerPoint presentation. So you turn on that computer, and if PowerPoint is not loaded in there, if that program is not in that computer, guess what you're not going to do? A PowerPoint presentation, because it's not in there. In the same way, we have to get God's word in our minds. We have to program our minds with God's word so we can recognize Satan's lies. And we're going to go to that a little bit further because that needs to really be developed a lot more. But the bottom line is, there is a saying, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you can program your mind to do, whatever you put in your mind is who you are. It's what you're going to think of. It's what you're going to be. Garbage in, garbage out. You program a virus in your computer, and guess what? Your computer is going to have a virus. It's going to get sick. It's going to malfunction. You program crap into your brain, guess what's going to happen? It's going to malfunction. It's going to produce crap. Basically, that's the truth.